Two men who forced their way into a Dartford home and carried out a violent knife attack have been jailed for a total of more than 20 years. Odejeh and Elias Spencer left a victim with life-threatening injuries after repeatedly stabbing him as he lay defenseless on the floor. The victim was known to both the men. He suffered stab wounds and slashes, as well as a severed artery in his leg after being attacked by the pair in front of his partner and another family member. Odejeh had threatened the victim on November 20, 2021, when he was in Temple Hill in the company of friends of family. He said, "You're lucky I don't do you right now. I'll stab you, I'll kill you." Shortly after making the threats, Odejeh then traveled to the victim's home address, along with Spencer and one other person. The group came armed with knives and a machete and forced their way into the house. They then chased the victim through his home until he tripped and fell onto the floor. The group repeatedly stabbed and slashed at him in front of his partner and another family member, who also feared for their lives during the attack. The trio fled the scene, and the victim was rushed to hospital with critical injuries, including a severed artery in his leg. Odejeh knew that police were looking for him and handed himself in at North Kent Station on November 22. Spencer also surrendered himself the following day. Despite this, at Maidstone Crown Court, both men denied any wrongdoing, and the case went to trial. Odejeh, 20, of Knights Manor Way, Dartford, was found guilty of inflicting grievous bodily harm with intent and with possessing a knife in a public place. Spencer, 23, of South Road, Forest Hill, London, was convicted of the same offences. He was also found guilty of perverting the course of justice after making threats to a witness. No charges were brought against a third suspect, who was also arrested. On Thursday, June 30, 2022, Odejeh was jailed for 10 and Spencer was jailed for 10 years and 6 months. PC Scott Spedding, of the County Line and Gang team, said, "There can be little doubt that Odejeh and Spencer are excessively violent and extremely dangerous offenders. They subjected the victim of this case to a terrifying and frenzied assault and were clearly intent on causing the most harm they possibly could. It is only down to good fortune and quick thinking from his associates that the victim was not fatally wounded," a spokesperson for Kent Police said. Two men who forced their way into a Dartford home and carried out a violent knife assault have been jailed for a total of more than 20 years.